So as the dust settles on Mythcon 2017, I wanted to share some parting thoughts and some optimism on why I think Mythcon 2018 is going to be huge. It's going to be much larger than it was in 2017, and I can't wait. I'm literally counting down the weeks until I can get some more information about it. So now that everyone has kind of had their say, I wanted to share my opinion as someone who's relatively new to the movement, someone who is still in the sponge phase of the atheist movement, the skeptic movement. I'm still kind of at that phase in life where somebody asks me about religion, and I feel uncomfortable at times saying I'm atheist. I still say it often, but it's still something I'm exploring. I'm getting to try to be more comfortable with. And Mythcon helped me be more confident and meet more people like-minded. Not people that agreed with me wholeheartedly or 100%, but people that we shared a common goal, and that is atheism and skeptic thought. And we didn't always agree on everything, but it felt good to have a pint with people that shared similar ideas, that we had the same common ground, and then we could debate other ideas beyond that. And there seems to be a lot of infighting in the atheism community, and that's really unattractive as a new, quote, member, I suppose, a new person. And I actually think the skeptic community, the more like consumable part of the community, is at a huge inflection point right now. If you just look at some of the most popular YouTubers, they wouldn't I wouldn't call them specifically atheist channels. They're people who are atheists, in fact, but their channels are more about socio-political issues and critical thought in general. This is the mainstream of atheism, in my opinion. And there seems to be a definite struggle internally. And what I hope to do is I hope to interview people in this movement who can help educate me more on the whole, the infighting, why there are certain atheists that want to inject political ideology into the movement, why they want to interject certain ideologies but not discuss them, right? They want, you can look at the debacle with Atheism Plus and that convention where they tried to infuse feminism into atheism and the hilariously low attendance levels. It sucks to see such a small group of people have all this infighting. And as somebody who's new, I hope that it can be minimized. I don't think it will be ever go away. That's just the nature of people. But I think a lot of good was done at Mythcon 2017. People who are proponents of or who are against Mythcon, I feel like hang their hat on what they call is, a bad situation, which was just 50 minutes of basically a 12-hour convention. Anybody who was there, anybody I've talked to who was there, was extraordinarily pleased with the event. The people that weren't there, the people that want to cherry pick certain things from the conversation, from the convention to push their beliefs, say it was a disaster, but in fact it wasn't. Everybody seemed to be having a good time. Everyone seemed, 99.9% of everyone there seemed satisfied to me. Many people attended the VIP after party. It was great. And I think as somebody who's new, as a relative normie to this community, and that's why I started this channel, is to flesh out my own beliefs and to discover them through critical thought. I was very encouraged by the opportunity that the convention had. I mean, ultimately, why do people go to conventions? It's to meet other people who share a common thread, or to, for the most part. I go to a lot of Magic the Gathering conventions. I went to Gen Con last year, and hopefully I'll go to Gen Con this coming up year. And why do I go to these things? It's to network. It's to talk to people who we share a common thing. Like, for example, Gen Con is gaming, or a Magic Grand Prix is just to talk about Magic. But in my opinion, like, talking about Magic is a bigger topic than playing Magic. And talking about atheism is almost bigger than atheism. It's bigger than it. It becomes bigger than the actual movement. And this is probably a common phenomenon, and I'm very interested to see where I am philosophically in a year or 9 months from now. I hope that this channel continues to grow, and I hope I can bring people on the channel or critically address videos once I get more strongly rooted in my own beliefs. One of the least talked about takeaways, I think, for somebody on the fringe of the movement that I got out of the convention was just meeting so many other people that had already traveled this road, have already solidified their beliefs for the most part, and how envious I was of that. It didn't matter whether or not I agreed or disagreed with them. It mattered that I was in awe of the fact that they could so easily debate things because they already were deep-rooted. They already had strong personal beliefs that they had at some point, critically examined. And I'm looking forward to being there. I know I won't be there in 6 months or a year. 5 years, 10 years, probably not. But what Mythcon, Mythicist Milwaukee offered me was an opportunity to rub shoulders with people who were on that same journey. It wasn't everybody there wasn't some kind of crazy deep thinker, some, YouTube celebrity. Most people there were people just like me. And to have this opportunity to attend a convention in the Midwest was awesome for me. And everybody I talked to there felt exactly the same way. People had driven many miles to be there. I befriended a couple that had driven up from Louisville. I know there are people there from Arizona and all over the country. And I don't think it's practical to expect, 100,000 people to attend this thing. But I think the buzz, if you take away the people looking to basically politicize 50 minutes of it, you had a huge crowd. I mean, I could never imagine. I've only watched guys like Ron Miscavige on TV. And I had the opportunity to see him live and have a good opportunity to meet the guy. Sargon, Shuan had Armored Skeptic, awesome. But, I already knew what they were kind of about. To be able to see people like Melissa Chen or Azra Nomani, the Buzz Belief debate, things like this were incredible. People I had never been exposed to before. And without Mythcon, it just wouldn't have happened. And the fact that they also debuted the Batman vs. Jesus movie was another thing people should be talking about. And I've already started to hear some of the ideas for next year. And based on the buzz that this year got, I can reasonably say that there's no question in my mind that Mythcon 2017 is going to be a huge success. It's going to be, I'm hoping that it's going to go from one of those things. Like, I talked to the president and vice president of Mythcon this week and had coffee with them. And I'm, more optimistic than probably they even are. But, I'd love to see a point where Mythcon isn't this thing that's always a net financial loss, where it can be something that can earn money for the next year, and this convention could get bigger and bigger and bigger. I even brought up the fact that, boy, I couldn't wait. I'd be really excited to see this thing be 2 days. And they were like, whoa, that's very expensive, blah, blah, blah. At the point when I talked to them, they're still in the red. But I have high hopes for Mythcon. I have high hopes for the convention, the skeptic convention circuit in general, because there's more and more people that want to go out there and have these conversations once they feel like it's okay. And I sincerely hope that those who would speak out against the convention and try to get people to not come would come back to reality and understand that telling people, like when you're like Steve Shives or Kristi Winters, you're relatively, irrelevant. But telling the small group of people that actually follows you to not show up at these events is absurd. You have to meet ideas you disagree with head on. you not attending Mythcon in 2018 isn't going to lower attendance. I think the attendance is going to be great next year. What I would love to see is people who would say that people like Sargon of Akkad shouldn't be there. I would love to hear your point of view. I would love to see Thomas Smith take a redemption tour and get another crack at talking to Sargon, and maybe have them, you know, have a little more structure there. I don't think the organizers of Mythicist Milwaukee have anything to apologize for. People on the far left keep telling them they need to apologize. They need to apologize. There needs to be a change in leadership. No, that's absurd. First of all, I don't subscribe to apologizing for offending people. What people seem to forget is when you have a convention, you don't have to attend every single panel. Every single panel doesn't have to be for every single person, especially as these things extend out. And we're talking about 12 hours of coverage, you know, 11, 12 hours. I mean, people have to eat lunch sometime. People have to get a coffee sometime. People have to go see Milwaukee at some time. So why does every single speaker have to pass your purity test? I think this is an absurd way to think. I think as Mythcon reaches 1 or 2 or maybe 3 days at one point, you're going to have speakers that just don't appeal to everybody. But that's the point. You have to have these speakers there so that people can grow and challenge their own beliefs. And, you know, maybe you'll come out feeling stronger about what you believe, or maybe you'll come out with a little seed of doubt, and you'll go home and you'll address that doubt over the coming months. And that's what I'm doing right now. And that's why I think Mythicist Milwaukee 2017 was a huge success. And I think that it's going to be an even bigger success in 2018. So stay strong, Mythicist Milwaukee crew. I look forward to helping out in any way I possibly can. And I would love to hear what you all think in the comment section below. You know, how many of you actually attended the event? What is your opinion of it? Would you consider, what would it take for you to consider traveling to Milwaukee and hanging out with me? Milwaukee is a beautiful city, beautiful people. I'd love to see you all there next year. But I'm interested to hearing both sides and seeing where this whole thing goes. Thanks for watching this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.